but you just announced your presence in this heavyweight division. Who do you want to fight next?
He said, I'll fight anybody that the company wants me to, but I really want to fight Francis.
I really want to fight Francis, and of course he's referencing Francis Ngannou.
It looks like Francis Ngannou has an opportunity, my friends. That right there possibly could have been the best thing to happen to Francis Ngannou when it comes to possible fight outcomes, right? You guys know we made our reaction video just a couple days ago. If you didn't see it, it was reacting to Francis Ngannou's disaster interview with Ariel Helwani, right? Where he goes over some of the topics, you know, him putting hands on Dana White, his relationship with the PFL, him not even, you know, knowing that this heavyweight fight was going to go down, him not getting invited to the fight or being in any talks of possibly fighting the winner, turning down the Jake Paul fight because he felt like he was too good. That's exactly what he said. He felt like he was too good and too high. When now you got a two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world fighting against this dude.
Do you think that you were above the challenge? Is that why you didn't entertain the offer? That it was sort of beneath you? That it was sort of beneath you and your pedigree and your skills and your resume to fight this type of fight? Was that the thinking?
Kind of, yes.
Okay.
Honestly, I have that kind of thought.
Okay.
Look, with Vadim Nemkov beating Renan Ferrer first round, took him down, got him in an arm triangle and submitted him, is the best thing that could have happened to Francis. Because we all know Francis is looking for a fight. It's been a year and a half, a year and 2 months since his last fight. And the fallout with the PFL, everything went south because, you know, his disagreements with how PFL Africa was handled. But now the PFL has a new CEO by the name of John Martin. And, you know, recently he talked about meeting Francis Ngannou and that they want to put on the biggest fight that they can. They understand that Francis Ngannou is their biggest prized possession, and they do have a fight for him in 2026.
I don't have anything to announce yet.
No,
he's a huge priority for us. Francis will be fighting.
How was the meeting?
It was cordial. It was good.
Okay.
And I mean, he knows we want to put something in front of him that's going to be good for him and good for us.
Okay. And so you think he will fight for the PFL in 26?
Yes.
Yeah. Because he still has one fight left on the deal, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And you felt a willingness and an open, you know, dialogue from him.
Francis wants to fight.
Yeah. Okay.
So with Vadim Nemkov winning, that's the fight right there. There's nobody out there in the world, Deontay Wilder, a fight that Francis Ngannou wants. He is not going to compete against Francis Ngannou in the next fight when you got guys like Alexander Usyk calling him out. When you got guys like Andy Ruiz Jr. out there. I just don't think Deontay really wants to do that right now. He called out John Jones. There's no way you're going to fight John Jones. You're never going to be back in the UFC. So this is his fight against Vadim Nemkov, former light heavyweight world champion. Only has 2 losses in his record, right? Back in Rising, one of those losses was to who? Yuri Prohaska, all right? The samurai warrior. And since then, it's been on a 14-fight win streak, moved up to the heavyweight division, and just beat the best heavyweight fighter in that division, Renan Ferrer, an absolute skyscraper of a monster who Francis Ngannou just knocked out. This is Francis's next fight, and it has to be against Nemkov. The question is, does John Martin want to do this? Of course, this is the last fight on the contract of Francis Ngannou. I do. If you watch interviews with John Martin, the new CEO of PFL, he has an absolutely great mind. This was a guy that Dana White went to before to ask for, you know, questions and how. This guy's absolutely a stud when it comes to running a business, right? And seeing, you know, him talk to Ariel Helwani, talk about their future plans with Francis Ngannou, that they do want to have a fight with him. Now we know Francis Ngannou's probably not going to be in the UFC. I really don't think he's going to want to go to any other organizations. LFA just lost the UFC Fight Pass, everything. You know, I don't know if he wants to go to Cage Warriors. I really think he wants to stay with PFL. I think there will be another contract made. So, that being said, it has to be against Vadim Nemkov. I think Francis Ngannou is stuck in the corner right now. I know there's some people out there on their last fight of the contract, you don't want to give Francis a title shot, right? Because he could win the title and just leave just like that. I think Francis is stuck in the corner right now, stuck in a little corner, and he needs opportunities to come his way. When you look at his last couple years, his resume has been completely horrible, and now you hear about the accusations that Dana White has made. When you hear those accusations as a CEO, John Martin of PFL, you must think about those type of things too, right? So far, everything is good with Francis, but it just all depends on how the business continues to go on. Now, at the end of the day, Francis, this is my message to you. You need to push for this fight. Vadim Nemkov called you out. Hopefully, John Martin, who seems like he's a people's person, a fan of the MMA sport himself, who understands, it seems like somebody like that would actually want you to compete against Vadim Nemkov, Francis, because it's a huge fight. It's the biggest fight out there, other than, you know, in other MMA organizations, than you fighting boxers or UFC fighters. So I say you take it and you aim to try to get this fight. And if you don't get this one, man, it's absolutely sad. Now, one last thing I would like to say about John Martin. Please, please, please do exactly what you guys just talked about right here. I mean, come on, man. I know the uniforms are cool, right? The UFC uniforms, Venom, whatever, it is what it is, but it ain't. I mean, come on, man. Could you imagine if UFC fighters right now were able to wear whatever they want as they walked out? Huh? Maybe they don't have to necessarily fight, you know, in the gi. You remember George St. Pierre used to come out to the gi, but then take it off. I don't think they should be forced to fight in their outfits, right? Of course, there should be gear right after. But for the walkouts, man, can we get some costumes? Can we get some people just going all out? I mean, dude, it'll be absolutely exciting. They already uplifted the walkouts yesterday. John Martin, the production that UFC Lyon put on was ridiculous. The event at UFC Lyon was absolutely amazing, right? Taylor Lapidus, Patrick Ribeiro. What's the other guy's name?
Despise it. It actually makes me mad. It makes me mad. It enrages me because, to your point, I loved seeing Mike Tyson come out in the all black and the towel.
That was terrifying. As a fan, I mean, terrifying in a good way.
Yeah, it was.
I like that too. As a fan,
Yes,
I like the drama of the walkouts, and I like, you know, I like that more than pyro and you know, I mean, it just bring it back to, you know.
Just understanding the mindset of John Martin. If you guys haven't watched this interview, please go watch this interview with Errol Hawani, and you'll start to see the progression that PFL is looking to make, right? They're turning off the tournaments. They're done with that. They're done with the whole point system, whatever that was. It's too hard to keep up with. They're going back to old school and current UFC MMA with the rankings and one champion in every division. There are fighters and last night's card that if John Martin really does this and takes this serious, they could make the PFL absolutely huge, make it a United States thing where they're traveling the U.S., going from city to city every weekend. Come to Fresno, California. UFC hasn't been here since when? 2021? Since before COVID? Guys out here are fiending. There's a lot of little cities around the United States that will absolutely sell out. And there's a lot of opportunity for the PFL, my friends. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with them. UFC Lyon, absolutely ridiculous. Patrick Ribeiro knocking out Kevin Jousset. Absolutely vicious KO. Taylor Lapidus in a war. I like it, man. I like it, dude. And I feel like with a Francis Ngannou and Vadim Nemkov, they need to continue to bring more heavyweights into their roster and more female fighters into their roster if they want to build that type of aspect. But hey, man, in the next year, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the PFL does and to see what Francis does, my friends. My name is Alex Ramos. This is the MMA Boxing Addicts channel, and I'm out.